Oi, 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 oi. Welcome. We are here.
Welcome.
We are here with Tiny Mountain, Trav and Eddie.
Yeah.
Welcome to the
Excellent.
podcast.
Golfers Club.
Shit,
Golfers
I'm
Club.
6'1" though, so we're not that tiny. But
Oh
we
shit,
try.
I'm 6'2".
Yeah, well there you go.
We have a
Actually,
height
They
off
lied
later.
to us through band name.
Yeah,
While we're on it, how'd you guys come up with the name Tiny Mountain?
Oh, good question.
that's an interesting one.
Thank you. My first question
So-
of the day.
I had a side project called Tiny Vessels, and Eddie had a project called
Called, Electro Mountain.
Electro Mountain. So we kind of just
And the blending
took
of
the
the two.
tiny, took the
Wow.
mountain.
I
and here
see.
we
I
are.
see how you guys came up with that. I see what you did there.
It could have gone two ways. It could have gone to Electro Vessels, but we just decided on the other one.
I like that more.
Stu, can we start a band called Electric Vessels?
Yeah.
That can
And
be
your
your
last
project.
name
We're changing the
That's
name
right.
of this podcast to Electric Vessels.
And your last name is also Mountain? We'll come back to that, yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is true.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Once
Oh,
again,
yeah. I
like
didn't
going
put
with
that
the
Tiny Mountain.
What a retard.
That's it. Tiny Mountain was born.
Nice.
Nice. So today we're going to talk a little bit, seeing as though we've got two cover band aficionados. We are going to talk about session musicians and cover music and all that sort of stuff. So
Outside of the industry.
yeah. So I mean, I've seen your old band play. I don't know how many times, and I've featured a couple of gigs as well. But
Yeah.
tell us a bit about your experience, Travi, to start off with.
Kind of like a brief history of kind of what happened. Like we kind of just, most of us went to high school together. Like me, Joel, Elliot, and Buller. We had 5 members in the beginning, and it kind of just formed as kind of just like a one-off. Someone asked us to like, oh, can you just learn a few songs for my party? It'd
Yeah.
be sick if you guys could just come up and jam.
Yeah.
And we we're like, yeah, whatever, it sounds sick.
Yeah.
So we did that, and from that gig, it went really well. I had to I didn't even have a drum kit at the time. I had to hire
Did
a
you have a
drum kit.
band name? Like at that time?
Yeah, it was Snack Attack. I think.
I
I think we
stuck with it.
Yeah, we had it.
So
yeah,
good.
it was that from the start.
Sick.
That was probably my only regret. Should have been orange sherbet. Should have been orange
Names don't
sherbet.
mean shit. Orange sherbet.
Hopefully the boys see this once it's once it's broadcast.
Elliot, he'll froth it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so at that point, we just got offered gigs after that. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, we want you to play at our party. We want you to play at our party.
Yeah.
So we just played parties and for like
Just
a few
covers?
months.
Only covers?
Only covers. And then we started playing at our local, the Whittlesea pub there, the
yeah.
Royal.
I went to one of those shows. It was fun.
Yeah, that was crazy, man. We used to,
I think I got really drunk.
yeah.
Most of your gigs, I'm pretty sure I got
Yeah.
quite drunk.
I think most of the audience at
Most
Snack
people
Attack gigs
do.
are pretty drunk. Yeah.
Like, absolutely
Awesome.
slaughtered.
We'll,
I
we'll
should've
talk
got
about
down.
that in a bit, I reckon.
Yeah,
the,
yeah.
The drunk
Getting
audience.
drunk.
But
Yeah.
continue.
Yeah, those gigs were pretty crazy. The amount of effort we bought our own lighting rig, PA, everything, staging. We brought everything and did it ourselves, and for like the lowest
Peanuts.
price.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sick.
Fucking hell.
it was just crazy, but it got us to where we ended up. So from that point, we played those pub gigs for a while, and then we ended up auditioning for an agency, which was AES, Australian Entertainment Services.
Yep.
And we auditioned at Crown, and we kind of felt that everyone would kind of just go in there and play like a cover, I feel like that would just be like the theme. But we decided to do 2 medleys instead, and they loved that. They loved that we were like a young band and we were creative at least with what we're doing. So they
Yeah,
were just
nice.
like, "Yep, done," signed us up, and then from that point we just had residencies.
That's so good.
They kind of just threw us into a lot of venues. We played. I feel like
Tell us some of the venues, because I know them, but
the big ones would be like Elephant Wilbur in St Kilda, Elephant Wilbur in the city, Bridie O'Reilly's in Brunswick. We played like other
Paran,
weird
you played
ones,
the Paran one as well.
like
yeah.
Arcadia. We did play at Arcadia.
Variety's in Paran a couple of times.
I don't think so.
No?
I don't think we
Okay.
played there. No.
Still doing
Lion,
Melbourne.
Melbourne Central. Yeah. Melbourne Central.
Never in Century.
Yeah. Lion in Melbourne Central. We played there for a while. Those were like the big ones that we stayed at for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. We stayed at like the Wilbur at St Kilda for like
Ages.
it's like 5 years or something. Yeah.
So long.
It was long. Yeah.
How long was this over? Like from when you guys started with this agency to are you still gigging with them now?
They're still going. Yeah.
Oh,
so
sweet.
I think I think I was in the band for a total of 9 years. It was like just
Fuck.
on 10, like almost 10 years.
No shit.
Yeah, so it was a long time. From when we decided to do that first gig, the
Yep.
21st, all the way up to
And for a long period, it was your main source of income.
yeah, especially towards like when we studied together,
Yeah.
audio. Like there was points where
Lucky that didn't go off. There you go.
yeah.
Well,
Oh, it was Elliot. So Elliot, when you see this, you piece of shit, sending me
ruining our
stupid Snapchats.
podcast.
Yeah,
Just wants to be in on the podcast.
Yeah,
that's
He
right.
knew.
He still made it somehow.
9 years. That's
9
a fucking
years.
haul.
Yeah, it's
Did they give you
crazy.
a gold watch when you left?
Sorry,
You got a plaque.
get a
I
gold?
did.
Yeah.
I got a plaque.
Yeah, yeah,
Really?
They made a plaque
Yeah,
for
it was really nice.
That's
Cool.
sick. Can I have it?
No.
Fair. Yeah, nah, fair.
They did the
Yeah,
because
no.
you guys did the farewell show.
That's right. Yeah, last show was at Melbourne Central.
I was at that one. That was
Oh,
good.
hell yeah. Yeah, it was a good show.
Nice.
Down.
That's pretty sweet.
Shit on my behalf, but anyway.
You didn't get me a plaque when I left the band, Stu.
We're in a band.
No
me,
band,
me and
no
Stu are
plaque.
starting a band, everybody. We're getting
Just-
the band back
We're not
together.
starting a band.
just for the
There is
plaque.
no band.
Just for the plaque. You're not going to make music. You just want to make it
Look,
and leave.
I'll make you a
just to get the
plaque just so that you can fucking have one, all right?
Oh, yeah? Well, you're not allowed to be in my band, okay?
There's no band, so that's fine.
Well, I'm going to make one. Hey, Trav and Ed, what are you guys doing? You guys want to start? You guys want to be in my band?
As long as there's no, you know,
Stews? There's no
responses.
stews.
there's no responsibilities. Only we're just gonna make a plaque and
that's
that's
it.
it.
We'll just get together for rehearsals. We'll just have plaque making days.
Yeah.
And we'll wear Hawaiian shirts, and that'll be
We'll have,
band.
we'll have to get together at least annually.
Yeah.
Sweet. So that's awesome. That's your history in terms of the cover band. Mm-hmm. We'll come back to what else you've done. But Eddie, do you want to give us a bit of a spiel about your musical history?
This is my musical history. Just in terms of cover stuff, or just in general.
Yeah, whatever.
I guess like,
Session musician.
I guess
sort
with
of
the
stuff.
cover thing, the cover thing's interesting for me because mine's a lot different to what Trav did, where Trav sort of had like one dedicated project that he was part of that was, you know, his weekly, his weekly gig. Whereas mine sort of sprouted from just meeting heaps of different people through going to uni, learning music there, and just sort of making these connections with different people. And I mainly just sort of got called in for various projects, you know, fill in on guitar, on bass, and things like that. And so mine's more of like a sort of spread out across various different projects
Yeah.
sort of basis. I'm not really dedicated to one particular thing, which I think is good because you've got a bit more freedom in the gigs that you can pick and choose, you know, whether or not you're choosing to play with certain people that you
Fucking
enjoy,
Yeah.
or whether you're choosing a gig purely for the money side of things, you
Yeah.
know. Obviously certain things like weddings and stuff like that, you always get paid a bit more for, at least in my experience,
Yep.
as opposed to say like a pub gig where, you know, you sort of get that set fee, especially with agencies and stuff. I mean, I play for Snack Attack very often, you know, Elliot having a kid and stuff, obviously, you know, he's got to find time for the family. So I sort of come in. I think I'm like the dedicated guy there because basically if Elliot can't do it, I go in on guitar. If Joel can't do it, I go on bass. And then if Foley can't do it, Joel goes on vocals and I go on bass.
So handy.
So
that is
I'm sort of
handy.
like the
Kind of
call-in.
like the fifth member.
Versatile.
Sort of like
Yeah.
the fifth member, really, yeah. Which is good. Sort of build up a relationship with those guys and various other people. The only one project I guess that I'm naturally part of is just this. She's more of like a country sort of artist, but she does cover gigs.
Yeah.
And I'm
you guys
mainly-
have jammed here as well.
Yeah, exactly. So we've rehearsed here and stuff, and I mainly just play bass for that one, and that's
What's
sort
her
of the
name?
main Michelle Gardner. We're called Michelle Gardner and the Seedy Boys. She's not happy about that second part of the name, but all of us in the group really want to
All
keep
of the
it there.
seedy boys really enjoy it. do
Yeah,
they?
Yeah.
We actually said that to one of the MCs at a wedding we were doing in Williamstown, and she said, "Here's the two names." She said, "We're called Michelle Gardner and the Grove, or Michelle Gardner and the Seedy Boys." And this old guy, he was like 80, the MC of the wedding, just goes, "Seedy Boys."
That's gold.
Sick.
But yeah, so I'm more of like a fill-in more than anything else. But
Yeah,
nice.
yeah, it's good because, as I said, less responsibility, I guess, for having to organize things with it. But you still just learn the material, rock up on time, and
Yeah.
play well.
Now, I have a question. Sorry, Stu.
Go.
So the cover scene is kind of not something I've been heavily in, we'll say, but it's super interesting. Like, it's fascinating. Do you reckon, Eddie, that like your difference in how you played in cover bands as opposed to Trav, where he's been in one dedicated one. Because, like, you were probably one of the fucking cleanest, sickest guitarists to come through here.
cheers, man.
Like, fucking dude has got skills. Do you reckon that
Too kind.
goes?
I'll back that.
Do you reckon that kind of goes with the fact that you weren't, say, in a dedicated band meant that you had to be fucking good at what you do because given the chance you had to kind of jump to it? Whereas if you had one dedicated project, you can sometimes get a little bit complacent and not like, not that it's shit, but like when you know you're going to get the next gig, when you know you're in the band, you don't have to fucking push yourself. Like, do you think that kind of drove you to polish your skills a little more?
Yeah, I think the main thing that I really pushed for, even just when I was younger, I listened to a lot of music when I was younger, a lot of different kinds of music. I'd listen from anything from, Lamb of God, Metallica heaviness to the pop music of like Coldplay and stuff like that, and I think because of that, the big thing I tried to push for was versatility more than anything else. So you should be able to, as like more of the session style, as opposed to just being in a cover band where you actually have to, come into a group with no rehearsals and be able to play the gig.
Yeah.
You've got to just have that versatility.
It's a whole different dynamic that most cunts would I've never had to experience that. Or
Well,
that
every
side of
band's
it.
different, So I've got plenty of different bands that I play for where they have a certain vibe to them. And obviously jumping on guitar versus bass, there's different roles and their different responsibilities obviously keep you on your toes. But I think it's it's just mainly versatility, and that's something I probably owe my guitar teachers as well as going to university for, to teach you to not be like a jack of all trades.
Well, you've got to have
but
a work ethic at the same
good.
time as though.
Have
Like
that
you
most
couldn't
things.
you couldn't do that and just kind of be like, yeah, whatever, play guitar. You have to be like, I fucking love playing guitar.
Yeah.
You have to have that sort of like wantingness.
Oh, there's an internal drive
to
for sure.
Yeah.
to do that.
Well, I was always fascinated with other instruments too, and I think that's a thing that you see with certain, certain musicians. I know some absolute amazing, excuse me, guitar players, but they couldn't play a single chord on a piano to save their life. But they're amazing guitar players. So I think there's those types of like virtuoso musicians.
Yep.
And then there's the other musicians who've sort of delved into other instruments, and I think it's helpful to try that out because it gives you a little bit of a different perspective. So me having the guitar and the bass, makes a
Do you
huge
ever fuck with any keys,
difference.
piano?
I do play piano. Funnily enough, I learned piano before I learned guitar.
Fuck. This dude's just all over the shop. All right, you and me are going to start another band. It's going to be called Giant Mountains.
Giant hills.
Giant
Giant
Hills.
hills.
And Stu's not allowed in that band either. I definitely agree. Like, even when I went back and studied sound production, like when I was making beats, I just jack fucking samples, put some some fucking either drum loops or program my own drums when I learnt that side of it. Like at the start, I was just fucking stealing loops. You just steal fucking sounds. And then as I kind of learnt more and cool, I can actually write and program my own drums. I'd write all that, but still the sample side, I'd always just rip. And then going back to school, we were forced to take keyboard, which was sick because I was like, fuck, this is how music kind of works. This is how chords work together. Cool.
Was this NMIT?
Fairfield.
Yeah. They did that like keyboard class for everyone.
Yeah.
That one. Some people loved it. Some people just.
I loved
hated
it. And the teacher was this jaded motherfucker who hated life. His name was Matthew Boulding, if he's listening. He was literally
didn't want to name names, but
one of
yeah.
the most jaded people I've ever met. Like, he just played in a band and didn't quite plan out, and he got fucked over by a few people and was just miserable. But I kind of found him funny. Like, I'd hang out with him and like I kind of was trying to learn, so he would try to help me.
Yeah.
But he was fucking funny. But I found that so handy, so fucking handy. Even just all the other little aspects of, oh, cool, this is how things slot together and this is how this works and these chords are, they're friends with these guys. And it just meant even in my fucking stripped back producing, I could make stuff make more sense because I just had that basic understanding.
Yeah, I think understanding of theory will make your life easier when it comes to doing any aspect of playing or recording music or anything like that.
Just trying a different instrument though is such a huge thing.
It just takes you outside of your comfort zone. It helps you, I think, like, I did used to learn piano, but I only did it for like 3 years when I was really young. And I remember the theory behind it, and I remember like what the white notes are and what the black notes are and all that sort of stuff, and I know. But playing guitar, it's way different to piano. And I think visualizing a piano, when I'm playing guitar, I still visualize a piano when I'm thinking of the notes that I'm playing. And I'm like, which chord is this on a piano? Like, or vice versa. When I'm playing a piano, I visualize a guitar and I'm like, where is this sitting on a guitar? I don't know. That's just something that I do.
Interesting.
I have two questions.
I think you should get the mid ground and play guitar instead. That's what you should do.
That's a good
That
call.
is an idea. That's an idea right
We
there.
need to get a studio guitar for sure.
Yeah.
All right, Stu, good news. You're back in the band on guitar.
But that's like,
I'll be average at it. Yes.
but that's the thing with like the other instruments. That's like the reason why, obviously, with Trav, you know, like
Yeah.
why I really enjoy his songwriting. You know, is because, you know, even though he's obviously naturally an amazing drummer, he's also like a pretty decent guitar player as well. And that like creates a huge difference in when you write songs and stuff. You know?
Well, for those that
feels and
playing
stuff,
at home that don't know, me and Travi were in a band for about 5 years together called the Spin Set. I've talked about it before, but me and Trav have an understanding of each other's musical ability that I'm sure you guys are learning about each other as well. But we bounce off each other really easily because of our understanding of music and kind of how, you know, song arrangement and all that sort of stuff happens. So I think like having an amount of music theory, you don't have to be the fucking biggest freak. You don't have to know what every single chord in the world are, like add 9s and add 11 and all. You don't need to know that sort of stuff.
I know next to no theory.
But having an understanding of how notes interact with each other and which chords work well together and all that sort of stuff just makes such a big difference when it comes to learning songs and fucking writing songs and all that sort of shit as well. I did have two questions and they go hand in hand. First one is, what's the best thing about being in a cover band and what's the worst thing about being in a cover band is the second
Well,
question.
they really do go hand in hand, don't they?
So I'll let Trav answer this first.
The best things, I think, like the gigs are consistent.
Yep.
So you get to kind of master your craft, and it's a consistent thing. So I loved the idea that I was able to play drums.
How often were they? Were they like once a week?
When we were at our busiest, it was 2 to 3 gigs a weekend.
Fuck.
So it was pretty hectic, and I was still working like a regular, like, you know, 6 or 7 day, 5 or 6 day week kind of thing at work.
And they cover bands are long sets, like they're like 2:45s or something.
3:45s.
Yeah.
Fuck.
On
Like how many
average.
It's a
songs?
long night.
So even like as we never played for that long. The longest like
In
That's,
an original band, you will very
like how many
rarely
tracks
play
do you
for that
guys go
long.
through in that?
it's tough at the start. At the start, I really struggled. Like I struggled
like
to
a
get the
fucking
energy.
marathon.
It's like
and
it's like
most
8
people-
to 10 songs a set. So you're basically getting through like maybe 30
songs.
in a night if you do
Easily.
like a full thing.
We
Most
used to
people who-
play 12 song sets.
Yeah.
Most people who claim to be an artist have not written 30 songs to play.
But to play for that long, that was a long learning curve because you had to kind of figure out, your
Yeah,
stamina had to
fuck.
build up and all that kind of thing. So
And you probably would just like feel like you need to go hard right from the start. Like just to be that energetic when you're in a
Yeah.
cover band, you have to fucking, it's a performance. Like you should take that attitude into an original band. But I feel like if you're definitely getting paid for being a performer, again, which everyone should, but in a perfect world.
Yeah.
But in a cover band, it's like you have to be on point the whole time.
It
And when
really-
you're first learning, you'd be like, fuck, I got to do this.
Yeah.
By the end, you're fucking ruined.
really depends on, like, I think venues and certain events are really important. If you're gigging at a pub, like balls to the wall, the whole show, just come in guns blazing because you want everyone to turn your head. They'll turn their heads and
dance
just
and
and
shit.
just
They need
get
to be
right
on the
on it,
dance
right?
floor,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what the venues kind of want you to do.
yeah.
Whereas if you're playing like a private function, you've got to start off soft and kind of bring it in slowly, and by the end,
I
like, you're
think that's
pumping.
what
You
I
know,
would do if I was in a cover band. I'd be going for the corporate gigs. I'd be going for the...
Oh, well,
Oh yeah.
well, that's where the
Start
money is.
I mean, that's, as I was saying
Probably
before, with, like,
easier
that's
too, like-
with weddings and stuff. Like weddings, like I've done heaps of weddings where basically the first set, your background music.
And people aren't
Yeah.
paying attention to you for
Yeah.
most of the night.
Well,
But-
even just for the first set, especially.
Oh, we have a visitor. We're waiting on Bukowski.
It's Bass.
Bassy, do you want to go get him? Seeing as you're up, we've got Bukowski coming in to do a live session, and Stu just left his chair right between me and Trav. That's
What
better.
up?
Now I can see you again. All right, well, while he's away, let's have the real question, shall we? Now.
Oh,
is
sorry.
the-
To add to the last one, just
All right,
real
what is
quick.
the worst part?
The best part, like I found, was like the friends. Like after being in a band that long with people, you just form a family, man. And
9 years is a fucking
a long time.
That's a long time.
dude.
those guys are some of my best friends.
Bad.
So, yeah.
Are you still in touch with all of them?
Yeah.
Sweet. That's
Yeah.
cool. That's cool.
Yeah, man. So that's like the highlight for me. It's like I got to do what I loved and got paid for it, and I got to hang out with my best mates.
Yep.
So,
Oh, I definitely see the fucking perks of it.
yeah, man.
And I think even just from an outsider, someone who's never played in a cover band, I think that little bit of stability and the fact that there is actual money in the fucking ecosystem.
Yeah, man.
Just means like, sweet, you can actually get paid to do shit. You're not constantly fucking scrounging coins together and doing all this shit. Yeah, I like it. I think Giant Mountains is going to be a huge success once we get going. Ed,
Giant Hills will be good.
is Basti coming in?
Yeah, they're going to load in.
Ah, sweet. Eduardo,
Sick.
what was your I finished off there while you ate, sorry, Burger.
Nah, that's sweet.
Eduardo, what's the best and worst part?
Best and worst parts
the cover band
being
life.
in a cover band. Yeah, I mean, for me personally,
Was the best part the chicks? Drunk chicks? It's okay, you can say it. This is an all ages podcast.
the best part is the tail. No, I'm joking.
You heard it here first.
Yeah. No, I think it's similar to what Trav said. I think one of the best parts is just the consistency of it all. You know, so the fact that even regardless of me doing multiple projects, like I'm gigging a fair amount anyway, you know, and the fact that they're all paid, you know, they're all paid gigs, and you're basically able to make a living off playing your instrument. You know,
Fucking A.
like you couldn't really ask for anything more. As Stu mentioned, you know, it would be great to do that with original music, you know, but cover band's sort of like the halfway point there. I think you still get to play your instrument, you still get to make money doing
For
it.
the love of the music in a different way.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
And
enjoy playing guitar. Every time I play guitar,
Yeah.
it's an enjoyable experience. So if I'm getting paid for that, that's amazing.
Fucking A.
you know?
And even there's
And then the worst is probably for me just hours wise.
Yeah. that'd
Like
be
so
fucking tough,
so
hey?
I've done some weddings where I've got there at 2:00 and we started playing at 8:30. So
What is
Damn.
that?
Yeah.
Is that by choice?
that one's the most extreme we've run into in terms of your load in time versus your
Yeah. Why
playing
is that?
time.
Is just so you don't
That-
interrupt the wedding?
That's because you have to load in before the reception starts. And
Yeah.
say like an average reception starts at like maybe 3, maybe 4.
And it
something
wouldn't
like
have been
that.
close to your house. So you
And-
couldn't have just gone home or.
No, this was opposite side of the city too.
Oh,
You know,
Yeah.
you know,
so
and most
painful.
that's the thing too. So most weddings I've done, that was probably one of the closest ones to the city. Most of the ones I do are a little bit further out. I did one that was right near Wilson's prom. Right,
Jeez.
so that's one. Yeah,
Such a mess.
that's a
Do you
drive.
get living away from home allowance when you
But
do
this is
those
the thing:
ones?
we got fuel allowance, we got accommodation paid for, so we stayed there the
Sweet.
night, and then we also got a pretty decent pay in the first place.
Yeah.
And it
I
was a
could do
really
it. I could do
nicely
this
put
cover
together wedding. So
Yeah.
in
I
a sense,
could be in a cover band, Stu.
there wasn't as much pressure as
We'll,
well.
we'll talk about this off podcast.
So yeah,
Yeah.
you need to do the cover gig thing, the wedding thing.
Now, you mentioned that you got traveling allowance and all this sort of stuff. I remember some fucking awesome gigs that you have done in your time in like near Hamilton Island and stuff. Can you,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
tell us about that?
All right, so that was a while ago. I can't remember how many years now.
Would you'd call this a perk of the being in the
Oh,
cover
yeah.
band? Yeah.
Yeah. So the owners from a pub up in Airlie Beach, they came down and saw us. They were looking for a band. They were just looking for different bands to come up and do like a week long,
Residency.
kind of residency. Yeah, up at the place. So they saw us at the Wheelbarrow in St Kilda and were like, "You guys are sick. Who do we need to talk to get you up at our venue?" So,
That's sick.
So yeah, they contacted AES and they were like, "Look, we want them for a week." So that we were like, "Sweet." They paid for like our accommodation and all that. So we we just flew up there.
That
and,
is awesome.
And we played for I think it was 6 gigs every night, but during the day we'd just be chilling and just doing shit.
Did
But,
you
like,
were you fucked by the end or was it fine?
No, I was pretty like bent.
Yeah.
Like, I was
Yeah, but
just-
that was self.
by the
That's
end,
because of
self-imposed.
drinking and all the
Yeah,
extra
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was so
Like
much
you
fun.
could physically, you could play a gig every fucking night of the week.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's
just-
sick.
and just
I had no
up-
idea that happened. That's
Yeah,
dope.
up there, it's just
When
it was
was
just
that?
so loose, and even the owner was just like bringing shots up to the stage, and we just got like I'm just like, dude, I'm not gonna be able to play after this.
He's like, I don't give a shit.
And he's
Get
like,
drunk.
I don't give a shit. Yeah,
I've heard stories of Airlie Beach.
yeah, it was pretty loose.
That's nice.
Stu, don't make me kick you out of the band again. By the way, we're starting a cover band after this.
All right, sweet. Done.
I'll
Can
book
I
the-
play guitar?
I'll book the tickets to Airlie Beach.
Okay. Thought we get covered for that. No?
I thought that's what you do in a cover band.
You cover expenses as well.
Yeah.
I see what you did there. All right, well.
Anyway, now that Stu ruined that segment, let's move on.
Yeah.
I want to learn more about session fucking shit. Like rolling in, kind of walk us through that. What's it like going into a band going, hey, we need a replacement. Usually something would have happened. Someone got fucking injured or someone quit. Like it's usually not the best circumstances that they have to get a ring in for a band. Like, what's your kind of experience? How's that gone down? Have you been called into dudes for doing recording sessions, to do live? Ed?
Yeah, so I mean, like I've sort of filled in with a few projects with that stuff. None of them have been like permanent things. But the ones I've been a part of, it's just sort of been, just me going in and just learning the songs, learning them enough for me to go into a rehearsal and then just basically play it properly. I think the big thing with that is, I was chatting to someone who was the guitarist for Richard Marx. So I was able to get into one of those big, like, Day on the Green
Yep.
festival things because a mate was working the lighting there. So I was able to sort of get in there and got me backstage and stuff. And I wasn't even really interested in, like, the artist that much, but I was interested in chatting to the people playing for them.
Yep.
And one of the big things he said, I asked him, how did you get into playing for Richard Marx and stuff? How did you get into doing that? And he was walking through, the way he sort of started and things like that. And I eventually asked, what's one of the big things that you would explain to someone who wants to do the session thing? And I think it was a great thing. And I sort of try to follow that every time I go to do a session. And that's just rock up with a good attitude. So just don't be a dick.
Yeah.
Like, basically, you want to be someone who people can just get along with,
Yep.
which I don't think is that hard.
Yeah.
Don't be a prick. And then
You say that.
learn.
Yeah.
You say
You
that.
say that.
You say that.
Some people have.
There are a lot of people who do struggle
Yeah.
with that concept.
Looking to you shit. No, I'm joking. And then the second thing is just learn the material properly. And the third thing is just rock up on time.
Yep. Time's a
that's
huge
not-
one.
That's not hard.
Time's one of those things that, for whatever reason, annoys my head if people are late. If people aren't late, I'm like, fuck, man, that to me just makes a really big fuck you of my time's worth more than yours. Why should I be here on time? And even if it's maybe not, intentional or anything, being on time is one of those things that really fucking, it just aggravates me.
Just give people notification. If you're
Yeah,
running
correct.
late in traffic,
Hey, shoot a text.
shoot a text through. Exactly it. Or don't call or text while driving. Obviously,
Correct.
not condoning that.
Well,
but
even that, I've
Yeah.
been running what I thought was late for a meeting due to traffic. This is on Punt Road, and literally pulled over, fucking made a call as I came in. Fuck, dude, I'm gonna be like 5 minutes late. Punt Road just cunt. As I was driving, traffic cleared up. Ended up getting there like 2 or 3 minutes early or something. It's like, fuck. The worst that happens is you show a bit of courtesy to go, man. I respect what you're doing as much as fucking I hope you're respecting what I'm doing. A courtesy call or a text isn't that much to ask.
I've got a story of how I've never been late to a gig. The latest I've ever rocked up at a gig was at a Playbook gig.
This is the last one.
This is one of the last gigs that we played, and it was at Wrangler Studios. And
This was great.
I left here, actually. I was working
Yep.
that day, and I left here early. I left here, we were supposed to be playing at
Good boss.
6:30 or 7 o'clock or something like that. I left at like 4 o'clock, or it ended up being like I was a little bit late to leave here, 4:15 or something, to arrive at 6 to be on stage at 6:30. The traffic was so bad because I had to drive through the city, and I got there with like a minute to spare. So I got a call from Jenkins like every 15 minutes, like, dude, where are you? Where are you? I was like, man, I am trying. Like, I can't push the traffic along. I have to just like get there when I can get there. I'm sorry, like, blah, blah, blah. And I was stressing so hard. I ran from my car, ran up the stairs, and I told Jenkins to set up my kit and set up the cymbals. By the time that I was get there, I'll jump on stage. I ran up the stairs, sat behind the kit. The setup was so wrong. Like all the drums, the cymbals were in the wrong place. I think Jenkins had like a crash cymbal here and the right cymbal was like way over there. And the drums just weren't, he had one floor tom set up. I didn't have a rack tom. And I'm just like, I got behind the kit and I'm like, we ready? We good? 1, 2, 3, and started the set. It was
That's
like
so
and
good.
It was the shittest feeling ever. Feeling like that stress and
Yep.
just like, I hate that. And I felt like I was letting everyone
Yeah.
down. Felt like I was letting the venue down. The TM was like being a dick about it. And I was just like, fuck, this is so bad. It's just the worst feeling.
That
So-
is a huge thing that affects performance.
Yeah.
Huge thing, you know?
And I mean, we played really well, actually,
Yeah,
but
well,
it was so stressful.
In the
But I
cover-
know what you mean. I know. Yeah, it's
like
just
attitude.
anxiety.
This goes back to that attitude thing. It's like there could be 20,000 things going through your mind.
Yeah.
That I guess there's got to be a certain point when you sort of bring that sense of professionalism
Yep.
to your own mind, and then
Yeah.
present that on the stage where you say, all right, well, this is what I'm doing.
Nothing else
This is
matters.
the job. This is what I've got to
This is what-
do.
yep. And-
I'm going to play the heck out of this gig.
Yep. And I think even like for me, seeing someone care like that, like to me being like shit happens. Life fucking occasionally gets in the way. But like seeing that someone cares about it is like, fuck, dude, I know I let the team down. I know like seeing that in someone to me is like, cool, let's move past it. Shit happens, move on.
Yeah.
It's when people act like it's nothing and it's blah, you're like,
I wish
okay.
the TM felt the same way. He was a dick. But anyway.
Most TMs generally are. But yeah, that like to me, it's like when you say they're like, fuck, dude, you can see this person's clearly, it obviously wasn't the ideal circumstance to be late for anything, but it's when people roll in and then they're late and they're like, okay, it doesn't really fucking matter. Like, oh, this gig doesn't matter. Or there's no one here anyway. Lucky I didn't get here. And like, that's what she like, okay, cool. Now let's put some fucking attention on your behavior because then it's fucking,
Yeah.
then everyone feels it.
Well, that then turns into like apathy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like that's what they've become. They've just become
That's when
apathetic
you've got to
to
give
it.
up
And
or
that's
find something else.
that's when it's
What
like
does
if you-
apathy mean? Sorry, just for,
Just-
A lack of caring.
yeah.
okay.
So
You just like couldn't care less.
Okay.
so if someone's going into a gig with that attitude, then they're obviously just not meant to be doing that.
Yeah.
You know, we don't do music because we
Yeah, to
intend
put
to
up
get
with the-
paid for it,
or to
and
put up
we
with
just it's not a
hassles.
9 to 5 job, right? You know, it's like there's got to be
unexpected.
there's got to be some form of enjoyment
Yeah.
in there, because if you don't enjoy what you're doing, you're definitely not getting paid enough
Yeah.
to to qualify as having this meaningless job.
Yeah.
I know people that can do the 9 to 5 thing and they can separate their work self from their
Music.
personal self. But I think if you're working in music, even something like cover bands or session musicians, there's still that blend between the two.
Definitely. Usually I think that's anything like any creative industry. I think it's, well, the majority, obviously there is people that still work in the music industry that they do it as a job. Like they rock up, they do their work and they fuck off on Friday and hang out with their friends.
Yep.
But I think the majority of people in creative industries, we've generally tried to do anything possible not to get a fucking real job and join the world. And we're like, cool, this is where I want to work. Like the hours will fucking ban shit moves, but it's like, we want to be here because that's who you are. You know, if we were to go to a 9 to 5, I think that's very much cool. Now I need to put myself on hold for these hours to do this job and this task at hand just to make money so I can eat. And then I can go back to being me. And then it's then as everyone in this room knows, when you fucking get a chance where you can live off that and you can actually fucking do that shit all the time and be in music, you're like, fuck, things just feel right. Everything aligns. You're like, you're not trying to fake or pretend you give a shit about something you don't, or pretend you care about a fucking company that you don't. It's like, cool, man, it's fucking music.
I wish we could keep talking, but I think we do have to wrap it
We
up.
do
which is
have
unfortunate.
Zukowski rolling in behind us.
Yeah. Now, do you guys have any kind of final things to
Anything you wanna
talk
plug?
about?
You got
I won't
singles?
let you go until you do the voice.
Oh,
But apart
yes.
from that, do you have anything else that you guys want to talk about?
If anyone
before we
needs
sign off?
some voiceovers done, Ed is amazing at this.
No, thank you. Yeah.
I think it's just like if you want to, I know like my cover band experience kind of just fell into place, but
Yeah.
it was a really good way of making money and still being able to do music. So if you're finding it hard to like do your own thing, but you still want to like just make a living of music, then doing a cover thing is a really good way of getting your skill set up and earning money while you're doing it.
Yep.
And getting
And
used to the music business. as
not
well.
only that, there's like a lot of things to read. Like you learn about how like to work with management. You need to know how to market yourself. You need to know how to dedicate time to rehearsals and learning songs and all that kind of thing. And it just becomes like a whole different ball game
Yeah.
when you decide to do your own music.
Yeah.
You treat it like a business, like you did when you're a cover band, and it just works.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know, I had
It'll
a,
work better.
like, I reckon, would just, correct me if I'm wrong, would a lot of guys not get into cover bands early on from a kind of fucking almost ego point of view where they're like,
I hear it all the time.
Yeah.
They're just like, I could never be in a cover band. I couldn't play other people's music and make money from it. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I couldn't give a shit
yeah,
about
Yeah.
that.
all that tells
Like,
me is
I
you
get
have
to
a
play
shit
music.
attitude and
Yeah,
you never
yeah.
thought
Yeah,
of
I'm like,
anything.
I just
oh,
want to fucking play music and make
Yeah, I'm
money.
playing
That's-
drums for money. That's sick.
Have fun
I will
working your
play
9 to
Jesse's
5,
Girl 3 times a week if I can pay my rent the following week.
Correct.
Oh, I'm triggered.
Yeah.
Oh, that was
That's a tough one. That's a
To
tough
answer the question before, what's the worst thing about being in a cover band? Jesse's Girl.
Yeah,
that's the
that
worst
song
thing about
sucks.
being in a cover
That song is huge from someone who's never played in a cover band. Greatest song of all time. And if everyone
Yeah.
Pain in
could
the
continue
ass for
to
it.
request it of cover bands,
We
Rick
we
Springfield.
boycotted a few songs.
really?
K-San.
Yeah.
We don't do
Nice.
Get the bogans out. That's
right.
I think we're missing the big one. The big
Vacation.
one everyone wants is horses, right?
Yeah, I
That's
was
the
gonna
big
say,
one
it's a
everyone
bad
wants.
Yeah,
song.
we stopped playing that too.
not a good song.
It's a big track. It's a big
Yeah,
track.
it's a big song.
Yeah.
Let's face it.
All right, nice. Well, thank you, Tiny Mountain, for coming on today. Did you guys
voice.
have anything you want to plug? Do you have some singles coming out?
We
You
do.
got some tracks
Yes.
coming out.
So at this point in time, we're almost finished recording our first single, and it's just being mixed now. So far, we've only done like a video kind of plug.
Now, where was that song
tease.
tracked?
It was. I don't know if you know, mate, but it was recorded at Marshall Street Studios.
Yeah,
That was a good one. That was a good one. I had a ball. That was fucking awesome.
yeah,
It was fun tracking it.
Yeah.
Challenging.
Engineered by this lovely man right here.
Yep.
So,
Old
It
Stuart.
was.
So if it sounds shit,
well, that's why
blame
it sounds
me.
good, though. I think.
Eddie, do the voice. Sign off.
Do the voice.
What should I say? Should I say this?
Say
is,
thanks for listening
all right.
and yeah.
Thanks for listening. This is Tiny Mountain on the Marshall Street Studios podcast.
Oh my god, it's the best. All right. See you guys next time.
Peace.